A poignant ceremony was held at Saltus this morning to honor two former students who died in the 9/11 attacks. Boyd A. Gatton and Robert Higley perished in the World Trade Center when it was targeted by two hijacked aircraft. They were aged 38 and 29, respectively. As we reported last night, Bermudian Rondell Tankard, age 31, was also killed in the attacks on New York City. At Saltus this morning, head prefects Alyssa De Silva and Vincent Darrell laid a wreath at a memorial plaque. Tomorrow, September the 11th, Saltus will also lay a wreath at the U.S. Consulate grounds, where the U.S. Consul General will host a small ceremony. The attacks left nearly 3,000 people dead, and the events of that day and its aftermath are forever seared into our memories. As events were unfolding in the U.S., authorities here sprung into action. Armed Bermuda Regiment soldiers under the leadership of Lieutenant Colonel David Gibbons were sent to protect our airport, cruise ship terminals, the U.S. Consulate in Devonshire, and the oil docks in St. George's. They worked alongside police led by Commissioner Jonathan Smith, who shared his experiences in last night's newscast. U.S. airspace was closed and 9 international flights were diverted to Bermuda amid fears that terrorists could be on board. One of the priorities was to assure Americans here that they would be safe on island, and the presence of armed police and soldiers was reassuring amid so much uncertainty. Lieutenant Colonel Gibbons takes up the story.
There is a television commanding officer's office, and turned it on, and like everyone, with a huge mix of horror, just astonishment and anger, I guess in some ways as well, saw this whole scenario play out for all of us many times. We obviously knew that we needed to see where we were going to come into the picture and what role we perhaps were going to play. Government House moved very quickly, and we were embodied. Proud to say again, the regiment, as they've done recently with COVID, I think we had a minimum of 2, if not a company down at the airport within about 3 or 4 hours, who were there to be able to react to any, hopefully any situation that may have arisen at the time. The authority, I guess, was delegated to the commissioner, who did a great job in a scenario where really no one knew what was going on or what could happen next. To have a situation where you've got to have an imagination, let alone the ability to execute such a thing, meant that other things following was not beyond the realms of possibility. And what would that look like from our point of view? I can remember very vividly moving around St. George's and also in town, and you could see the fear, the anxiety in people's faces, especially a lot of the Americans, because of this invasion, as it were. And it was very rewarding. Is not a nice word to put at this time, but it was the relief that you could read, and the amount of people who would come up to us as the soldiers and say, "Thank you for being here. We feel a whole lot more safe with what is going on." The police moved very quickly. They had an armed guard at the consulate. And so Bermuda set itself up in a very defensive way very quickly, which I think helped ease a lot of the uncertainty, or raise the degree of comfort that we did have things in control as much as one could do. There was a degree of comfort that we were doing what we could do within our context, and we weren't going to go out, and there wasn't really any need for us to head out into the wider world and do some of these things. So it was our responsibility. It was our people. It was our guests, and I think that's how we focused our energies during that. And like everyone else, we're just wondering, as the scenes replayed themselves, what happened? Did this really occur? And is there something else in the pipeline?